Apollo program. A United States space program whose purpose was to land men on the moon. There were 17 Apollo missions and 6 made lunar moon landings. On July 20th, 1969, Apollo 11 astronaut Neil Armstrong became the first person to set foot on the moon. Asteroid. One of the millions of small rocky bodies that orbit the Sun. Most asteroids revolve, circle, around the Sun in a ring or asteroid belt between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter. Astronaut. A space traveler. An astronaut is specially trained to fly in a spaceship and work in space. The word used in the Russian space program is cosmonaut. Astronomy. The scientific study of stars, planets, comets, asteroids, galaxies, quasars, pulsars, black holes, and all the other natural phenomena beyond Earth. Atmosphere. The layer of gases that surrounds a planet. Earth has an atmosphere made up mostly of the gases nitrogen and oxygen. Big Bang Theory. A theory about the beginning of the universe. The Big Bang Theory says that the universe began about 12 to 14 billion years ago with an explosion of a great hot ball of matter. The universe expanded in all directions. The matter began to cool and formed stars and galaxies. Black hole. A place in space with enormous gravity. It is called a black hole because nothing, not even light, can escape from it. A black hole can result from the collapse of a supergiant star. Comet. A lump of dust and ice left over when the solar system formed. Some astronomers call comets dirty snowballs. When a comet comes near the sun, it grows a glowing head and tail and begins to shine. Constellation. A group of bright stars that form a shape or pattern in the sky. The ancient stargazers named the constellations after creatures or objects they thought the shapes resembled. The stars in a constellation are seldom close to each other in space. They only appear to be. Ursa Major, Big Bear. Ursa Copernicus, Nicholas, 1473 to 1543. A Polish astronomer who proposed the idea that the sun was the center of the universe. Before that, most people thought Earth was the center of the universe. Cosmic rays. Tiny, high-energy particles that bombard Earth from outer space. When cosmic rays hit Earth's atmosphere, they produce harmless, low-energy crater. A circular hollow in the surface of a planet or moon. Most craters are formed when a rock crashes into the ground. Day. Night. Day. The time it takes Earth to spin or rotate once on its axis. When measured in relation to the stars, a day on Earth is about 23 hours, 56 minutes, 4 seconds. When measured in relation to the Sun, a day is 20 double star. A pair of stars that appear close together in the sky. Some double stars, called binaries, really are near each other in space and travel around a common center of gravity. About half of all stars are either binaries or belong to larger star groups. Yellow dwarf star, red dwarf star, white dwarf star. Dwarf star. Our sun is a medium-sized yellow dwarf star. Red dwarf stars are smaller and dimmer than yellow dwarfs. White dwarf stars are even smaller. They are slowly cooling down and are near the ends of their lives. Earth. The rocky, watery planet on which we live. Earth is the third planet from the Sun, about 93 million miles away. The diameter at the equator is 7,926 miles, about 26 miles more than at the poles. Earth is the only body in the solar system that has all the materials and conditions needed for life as we know it. Moon. Lunar eclipse. Earth. Eclipse. When one body in space blocks our view of another body in space. A total eclipse blocks the entire body. A partial eclipse blocks only part of it. When the moon passes in front of the sun, we have a solar sun eclipse. When the moon passes into Earth's shadow, we have a lunar moon eclipse. E equals mc squared. Einstein, Albert, 1879 to 1955. A German-born Swiss-American physicist who changed our ideas of space, time, gravity, and the universe with his theories of relativity. He is best known for his formula E equals mc squared. Energy is equal to mass multiplied by the square of the speed of light, which helps explain the energy of the sun and stars. Equinox. One of the 2 times during the year when day and night are of equal length all over the world. The spring or vernal equinox happens on about March 21st, and the autumnal equinox happens on about September 23rd. Explorer 1. The first United States satellite. The 31-pound satellite was launched on January 31st, 1958. It remained in orbit for more than 12 years, traveling nearly 60,000 times around Earth. Extraterrestrial life. Living things from other worlds. The search for extraterrestrial life has so far been unsuccessful. Falling star. See meteor. Galaxy. A huge system of stars, nebulas, dust, and gases. Millions of galaxies have been discovered in distant space. A galaxy may contain hundreds of thousands of millions of stars moving through space together. Galileo, 1564 to 1642. An Italian astronomer and physicist who made the first telescopic observations of the night sky. He discovered the rings of Saturn, the 4 largest moons of Jupiter, the phases of Venus, and the fact that the sun turns. His observations led him to support Copernicus's theory that the sun is the center of the universe. Sun, moon, earth. Gravitation or gravity. The invisible force of attraction that exists between all matter. The gravitational attraction of the sun keeps the planets from whirling off into space. Gravitation holds a star together. It attracts you to the center of Earth and gives you weight. Gravitation is one of the basic forces in the universe. Halley's Comet. A famous comet named after Edmund Halley, 1656 to 1742, who first determined its 76-year-long orbit. It was last seen without a telescope in 1986. Mercury. Venus. Earth, Mars. Inner planets. Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. These 4 small rocky planets are closer to the Sun than the 4 giant outer planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, and the dwarf planet Pluto. Jupiter. By far the largest planet in the solar system, twice the size of all the other planets put together. Jupiter is a gas giant, about 88,000 miles across, and orbits about 480 million miles from the Sun. Jupiter has faint rings and more than 60 moons. Kepler, Johannes, 1571 to 1630. A German astronomer whose laws of motion helped scientists to understand how planets move. Light year. A basic unit used to measure great distances in space. It is the distance light travels in 1 year, about 5.9 million miles. Lunar eclipse. See eclipse. Luna 1. Luna. A series of unmanned Russian spacecraft sent to explore the moon. In 1959, Luna 2 was the first probe ever to reach the moon. In 1970, a capsule from Luna 16 returned to Earth with a sample of soil from the surface of the moon. Magellanic Clouds. the two galaxies nearest to our Milky Way galaxy. Each is much smaller than the Milky Way. Magnitude, a measure of a star's brightness. Very bright stars are given a magnitude of 1. The faintest stars visible to the unaided eye are given a magnitude of 6. The best telescopes have pictured objects of magnitude 30. Mariner 10. Mariner, a series of United States space probes sent to study the nearest planets, Venus, Mars, and Mercury. Mars, the fourth planet from the Sun. It is about 4,220 miles across and is about 142 million miles from the Sun. Mars goes around the Sun once in 687 Earth days. A day on Mars is about 40 minutes longer than a day on Earth. Mars has a thin atmosphere of mostly carbon dioxide and is much colder than Earth. As far as we know, no life exists on Mars. Mercury, the planet closest to the Sun. Mercury is about 36 million miles away from the Sun. Mercury is a hot, lifeless ball of rock about 3,030 miles across and is the smallest planet. The cratered surface of Mercury looks much like that of the Moon. Mercury Project, the first United States program to launch men into space. On February 20th, 1962, Mercury astronaut John Glenn became the first American to go into orbit. Meteor, the streak of light seen in the night sky when a particle or rock from space called a meteoroid plunges through Earth's atmosphere and burns up because of friction. A meteor is sometimes called a falling or shooting star, although it is not a star. Meteorite, the remains of a large meteoroid that was not completely burned up when